Everybody, welcome to Forge Narrative. This is our Monday night live webcast. I got a special guest here in the studio audience tonight, Josh Ginn, on my champion Adepticon team, where we won this award, and of course Justin Troop here. Chris Morgan should be joining us pretty soon. Welcome everybody.
Hell yeah, man! It was a weekend, huh?
Monday came a little too quick. It's been like the weather's been terrible here in Atlanta. I'm back in Atlanta, by the way, as you can tell, because this is my normal setup. And thank y'all very much for tuning in last week. If you're watching the show later or haven't yet, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We would certainly appreciate it. Chat in the comments here or hit us up on the Forge Narrative Facebook.
Yes, I'm ready.
Just want to get right into it, man. Steve Bully said he's about 5 chapters in Vengeful Spirit, and he gives some highlights. I don't necessarily want to give any spoilers.
Is that reading thing?
It is, but it's Vengeful Spirit's a really good book. I mean, that book it seriously kickstarts like the next what would be the next half of the horror series. I think we can officially claim that all those novels have reached, like, we're about to enter the final chapter. Now that chapter is going to be 25 books, whatever long. Or more. I don't even know how many they're up to now, but I mean, it's got to be in the 30, 40 range or something. It's got to be. I mean, they're good. I've really enjoyed almost every single one of them that I've read, with very few exceptions. I read Ravenlord this past weekend. That's about the Raven Guard, obviously.
Don't quote me, but I want to say 32.
Is it? It's got to be more than that.
Don't quote me.
It feels like more than that. At the last seasonal, I gave away like 6 books, and I still have a bookshelf full of them. I'm real meticulous when I'm reading books. I don't bend the spine.
So they look new.
Yeah, so I put my fingers there, and I don't ever bend the spine too much. If I can't read in crease, I don't read in crease. I read all the words, but anyway, he points out that Russ admits that he thinks the only Primarch that he can't kill is Horus.
I mean, you can kill a Legion, but you can't kill a Primarch. I'm just saying.
Well, no, he said he can kill all the Primarchs, except he doesn't think he can take out Horus.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, Horus is supposed to be the most bad A dude on the planet, for real. Second to the Emperor, of course.
Well, we all know that Sanguinus can take him out.
That didn't end well.
Well, okay.
Pre-demon.
To be fair though, Sanguinus had killed like 9 Bloodthirsters before he even got up there. He was fighting for days and days and days, all by himself, flying everywhere. He turned the tide. He even rallied all the White Scars and Imperial Fist. Like Sanguinus is the man. And then after he's killed like that 9th Bloodthirster, then he goes up there and fights Horus.
Yeah, a little bit of battle fatigue possibly was setting in at that point. I mean, I can feel that.
So, but I really liked how all the writers at this point had kind of led up to the fact that Sanguinus could take Horus, but just in case he did, they were going to throw Angron on Sanguinus, because after that fight, Angron would certainly be able to take him out.
Yeah, those stories, man, about like the Primarch measuring contest. See, I censored myself.
I love it. I think that's why we read this stuff. I'm telling you, that scene, if you guys haven't read it in Scars, read Scars. It has some of the best Primarch on Primarch action. Hot, steamy Primarch action.
Whoa. PG-13
versus Mortarion, right?
Well, Mortarion isn't there, but they're talking about after the Battle of Yulnor, where all the Primarchs are talking to each other about who's the best swerdsman, and they're all trying to pretend that Sanguinus isn't in the room. Like, they're all talking amongst themselves, and Sanguinus is like, "Hey," yes. And they're like, "Yeah, that's cool, let's go." But I can beat you. I can beat this other guy over here.
I mean, man, Sanguinus everybody knows he's the true pimp, man. He fell on the blade to make sure that we had 10,000 more years of fun.
I am going to say, as soon as we get a Sanguinus model, like Forge World could price that they could price it to where it would be like only one person buys it.
It'll be the first 100 pound. It'll probably be the first 100 pounds. It's gonna have the wings. It'll have the base.
The base is gonna be
interactive.
Giant.
I think you're going to see it with the very second iteration of a model where he may be fighting Horus, even like an upgraded Horus or something. I think they're really going to.
Yeah, didn't you have a theory to where like you think they're going to release different versions of the Primarchs?
I think they have to. I think you're going to see the ascended versions at some point as they get closer to Terra. I think it makes more sense.
You think they'll do something for the Loyalist Primarchs too? Because we got to see a Rabute with 2 power fists.
I hope. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, after that picture of him punching faces, like outside of the freaking ship.
Oh yeah, no fear. Cover, I believe it is.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Like I need him a punching.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. When he opens his mouth, I instantly just like doze off. But when he's just like when his brain shuts off, he goes full on Cro-Magnon. I love it. I love it.
I remember the first time I saw that book, I had no clue. I was like, wait, it's an Ultramarine book, and there's a guy in space with no helmet punching someone's head off.
It seems good.
I was like, what book is this? This can't possibly be an Ultramarine book.
Yeah.
After all the Uriel Ventress stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, you get into it. This is different.
I like it.
It's the only thing that makes Reboot like, oh, look, guys, I do know how to fight.
Yeah.
I feel good about him at that point.
Let's give a few shout outs. Lamont, good to see you. Troy, Dean, Space Lou, Steve, I mentioned earlier, BC, Kelly K, Sal, Barrett, Justin. Guys, thanks for jumping in. If I missed anybody scrolling down, I apologize. I'll get there. Justin, you do get to see the con fight, but not quite how you might want it. Like they've got, but that's part of it though. When they're talking about like the con's all like, they're all talking about how they could beat him. And he's basically, you don't know me. You've never seen me do anything. Like, I purposely don't. I founded the freaking Librarius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sanguinius.
and you've never seen me do anything. What do you mean you can take me? Like, you don't even know. Like, please continue. And he's content to let people think that.
Wasn't that where Moritarian kind of realized he bit off more than he even decided, or he thought he should with siding with Horus, because he was such not a fan of Psychers, and things were lining up that there were going to be more pro Psychers after the Emperor.
That's it. They're having this kind of weird dialogue, this very challenged dialogue. Yeah. Right there, it's on Prospero, isn't it? Aren't they?
Yeah, they're on Prospero. Yeah. Like Moritarian comes there. It's a not too many spoilers in there, but
well, I mean, I hope I would just intrigue people enough to read it, because that book is very good.
You kind of come into a whole side of Khan that I think no one really knows about, and that it leads into why he stays loyalist. And there's a lot of interesting cues that get taken from there.
Yeah,
I think what's going to happen is when the White Scars get to Terra, I think you're going to see a lot more. Everyone talks about the palace, but I think when they defend the drop site, not the drop
it's
site, but
the space gate,
port,
whatever it is.
That's going to be that could be its own book. I mean, who knows? But that could be that.
I think it has to be, because it takes place on a whole other side of the planet. Essentially,
it's going to be interesting.
I think it does. I mean, I feel like it is in my mind anyway. But I was, again, cannot wait to this journey to Terra that we're going to see. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the Garrow audiobooks. I don't know if anyone else has caught those. I'm ready.
How far into them are you?
I think I've done like 5 of them. I don't know how many of them are, but I've done all 5. I just finished the last one up today, I think. But they're not too long. Some of them go from 30 minutes up to like a couple hours.
I didn't expect the ending in that first Garrow book.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect to see Loken, but in that book, in the audio book, I expected
Cerberus. Yeah, right. No, that was. I'm kind of looking forward to that getting going. Obviously,
spoiler. Sorry. I don't know, but
I thought that's pretty common.
I know it's like 6 years ago.
Don't worry, I won't read it, guys.
Well, you don't have to. You just listen. But no, that's one of the great things I like about that, the founding of, or everyone working with Malkador. I think there's a lot of cool little side stories that they're. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but when they go to the Dark Angel's homeworld, Caliban, yeah, and there's some interaction going on there with Luther, and they kind of introduce a little bit of Cypher, and that's pretty cool. There's a lot of other cool side notes going on. They're attacking the heresy from different angles, but
Cypher's the reigning champion of hide and seek in the 41st millennium.
Yeah, but
him and Bigfoot playing Go Fish somewhere.
Yeah. There's just a lot of cool stuff I like to see get ramped up also going forward, because we were talking about Deliverance Lost heading towards Terra. So,
do you think we'll see Cypher in the 30K?
Oh yeah, we already have. I think we already have.
He's in the Loken book. I think when they do Dark Angels, I think if they
they don't call him out as Cypher. He is just the Cypher. Like his position.
Well, yeah, it's a rank. Yeah,
Cypher. You know.
In the book, well, now this is just me and my perceptions of how I heard it. I guess is he saves Malkador's knight errants who come to find out what's going on in Caliban. He sort of saves them and helps them escape or whatnot. And you get this sort of like what's going on. He's staying there with the bad guys. He's not leaving with them. And you sort of understand it to be, well, he's already chosen his fate. He sided with the side that he knows can't be forgiven, or he can never be forgiven. Mm-hmm. So he's going to do his best to make amends. And that's kind of like he's a little bit of a saboteur in there. So it's a little bit interesting of like a Moritat almost.
I think he is. I mean, I think that's what he is.
That's what it felt like in it anyway. But it was interesting. But I mean, you might see a book going forward in the Horus Heresy because I don't know how they're going to do the First Legion, but you might have a book that's them versus themselves, even where they're just coming back, or because it's going to be possibly post Heresy because there's not a lot going into it right now.
Let me tell you, I know we're going too far off talking about fiction and stuff, but I love it. But talking about the Raven Lord, it's like I did not enjoy Corax as much in that book as I did in the previous.
Deliverance Lost.
Well, I didn't read Deliverance Lost. It was, I mean, I want to. It's on the shelf, but he was. I forget which. It might have been even the short stories. Right, so where he's like he turns invisible and walks around the battlefield. Or anyway, it's and his dialogue in there is awesome. Dialogue in Ravenlord, the action was good, but the dialogue wasn't all that great. And then anyway, it's a. I don't want to spoil the book. If anybody wants to know why I feel that way, I'll be happy to talk to them in private. But that's one of those limited edition books.
Is it the short story with the?
It's a novella. It's not a Night Lord. It's
there's a different one that I like with the Night Lord and the Raven Guard, and they're in the sewers and whatnot.
It's not. This is when they're. It's after the massacre, and they're going anyway. Whatever. I don't want to spoil it too much. If someone isn't ready yet, read it fast. It's a short read. Be fine.
Waking up from my nap here. Jeez.
It's great. I'm sorry.
Something juicy.
Yeah. Oh, Steve's talking about a few weeks ago. We mentioned pick your 5 best All-Star Space Marine squad, and he has picked Argel Tal, Karn, Typhus, Lucius, and Abaddon. And he says most of the Chaos Gods are covered there.
Isn't that the cover of the book? One of those books.
And Cypher's in that. He's actually in the corner. Yeah. And so it's like the 40K picture of Cypher. Yeah. So it's like no question that he's that is a good one. Let's see who would I pick now that I've read some more stories. Non-Primarch, it'd have to be Constantine Voldaren, the leader of the Custodes.
Okay.
That guy. I'd probably have to say Bjorn from the Space Wolves.
Yeah. Okay.
Like before he was a dreadnought.
Yeah. Before they're like trying to not call him the fell-handed because he gets his hand all jacked up. Yeah. It's like everything but the fell hand. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'd start with those guys.
Probably the Raven Guard who kills Lucius.
Oh yeah, Sharakan. That guy's he's my favorite. Probably and Orfeo. There you go. I'm almost there. Who else can I pick? And the leader of the Sanguinary Guard.
Shame on us, Sanguinor.
I can't remember his name. I'm spacing.
Shame on
Roldaron, something like that.
This is why we need Chris.
Yeah.
He remembers this stuff.
Chandler didn't say what's up earlier. I don't think anyway. Oh, here he is. Maybe he'll give us the answer. Chris, who's the leader of the Sanguinary Guard in the Heresy?
We're all gonna shake our heads. We know as soon as it pops up.
Yeah. You're on mute or something. Anyway, he'll tell us when he. This is why. Yeah. Were you just talking about? Did you guys do mic checks? Like you were doing about a minute before, or sometimes 13 minutes in.
Yeah, this is all by the fly.
Dean, tell us how those Dark Angels are working out, man. Ravenwing it's real. I mean, I plan to be playing them at the next tournament I go to if I get them all painted in time.
Yeah, they're beasts, man. A lot of people are this is how you know what's good. Go to eBay and try to buy bits for something.
Yeah, and if you can't get Corvus hammers, then you know that.
Are they sold out or $1 million?
That's right.
Then, yes, they're good.
I was on eBay, I think 2 nights ago. Shameful plug for them that we don't get anything for, but there were no grav guns available at all. Not even buy it now, not even auction. There were no grav guns.
People gearing up for tournaments. I guess.
What world am I in right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Even Max Mini, his little thing, it was sold out at one point, and I'm like, God, those don't even look that good to me. And
that's Kelly on. That's Justin's coming in. Sorry, Justin.
Yeah. The one who forgives the guys for slaying the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Yo, his new name is JP. All right, you guys confuse the crap out of me.
If we're talking about something from a book and mention Justin, it's not you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I can put those context clues.
Thank you very much for coming in there with that. Okay. I just lost that. Okay, gearing up for a tournament. Yeah, Chris, can't hear you. Good enough for a tournament. Definitely gonna be playing Dark Angels, mixing in my Iron Priest and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just you can't go wrong with it.
No, I'm big on Ravenwing right now. I've been kind of one of those holdout Dark Angel players for a long time. So of course my Green Marines are good and my Deathwing are good. But I'll admit it. I let the Ravenwing languish. I had my.
Well, they sucked for a while. Like Khan did Ravenwing better.
Yeah, it was embarrassing practically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Samael model, but I'll be the guy who admits it. I didn't have any of the Black Knight models, and so I had to pretty recently go out and get them. And,
Yeah.
Those are actually pretty impressive, I'd say. Like I think the Apothecary bits in that box.
They got good stuff.
Nicest bits I've seen in a long time.
That's a real good kit. Yeah. I don't like the price point on it, but.
Well,
I just needed the hammers. Just
Yeah. That's still like $130.
yeah.
I was just in Houston too. Somebody said they were just back from Houston.
What?
So speaking of tournaments, Atlanta Warzone coming up,
Yeah.
November 13th to the 15th. Going to go shameless plug. Go to Warzone Atlanta right now. If you have not registered and wish to come to the tournament, please register. The format is going to be. I pretty much got it nailed down. The format is going to be complete 7th edition, build armies directly out of the rule book. No restrictions on how many detachments you can take or whatever. There's going to be a limit of 1 knight detachment and 1 super heavy or 1 super heavy Lord of War or Gargantuan.
Gargantuan, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, Lord of War 2. Like you can take 1 Bane Blade or whatever.
Because I can't take Dante and like Logan.
No, super heavy. 1 super
okay.
heavy Gargantuan creature or Lord of War.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I need to learn how to listen.
No, that's all right. I know that's anytime you put restrictions on there, it's just like what is it? What does it mean I can do? Completely understand that.
It stings me deep.
So a pretty wide open format. Going to make the missions suitable for all army lists to compete. Very similar to the way the current FTN packet is. If you guys play the FTN missions, that you can bring an army that's fun for you and still be able to compete at the tournament.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I'm gonna shout out what my list is gonna be. It's gonna be terrible. All right. My Warlord is gonna be a Librarian Dreadnought. Just I'm leaving it there. You can figure out what the rest.
Strong
is.
start.
Yep.
That's a strong start.
Yeah. That's my Warlord.
Bold.
No, dude. Okay, so like I had an epiphany, right? I'm talking to myself and I'm sitting here thinking like, what do I want to do for Warzone Atlanta? Yo, I want to have fun, man. I know for a fact that there is a list of dudes that I can count on this many fingers that I know for a fact right now I cannot beat. I just can't do it. And those dudes are going to be there. I can't do it.
I wouldn't count you out, man. Especially, we make some good missions and stuff. So, but bringing a Librarian Dreadnought, still.
That's not the way. That's not the way. Do
Okay.
not bring a Librarian Dreadnought if you're trying to win.
Well, we're also allowing 30K lists. So you can build a 30K straight out, but you got to use the 7th edition army rules. So don't use the Age of Darkness rules in the 30K books. Use the 7th edition army list construction.
The normal CAD, so that way you can use a Lord of War. That's the point behind that, right?
And plus it's just cleaner. It's just real cleaner about how you build stuff. I mean, all the Legion special rules will still be in effect. So you can, if that changes like a force organization slot or whatever, that's all that all works too. But you build combined arms detachment and allied detachments and that kind of stuff from the book. Now, I want to point out that we were talking about several podcasts ago about can you ally in 40K stuff with 30K?
Yeah.
The answer is currently you cannot, but the word bearers allow you to ally in Chaos Demons.
Yeah, that's going to be rough.
There's an out,
Yeah, that's going to be rough.
Pretty Legion specific though, and
it
I don't know if that's what I'm dancing around talking about is maybe the Bloodkin or the Demonkin book. Excuse me. Is there maybe
it's specifically Chaos Demons?
Odd. Okay.
It specifically says Codex Demons in the book.
That was my thing. Like, if you were allowed to have like the Corn Demonkin, I was going to be like, no way, dude. That's too much.
Well, that's not what it says. It says Codex Chaos Demons or whatever.
Yeah.
In there.
The vanilla demons.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still put in Fate Weaver,
Yeah.
Okay. Sideways with it.
Yeah.
Bellicor, Fate Weaver, go.
Well, it had to be an allied detachment, so you couldn't do that.
Touche.
Well, maybe it doesn't have to allied. No, I don't think it'd be allied detachment. This is allies. Anyway, we're going to review all that stuff to make sure that it's really tight and that it's not skewed one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'll have to brush up on my Forge World rules. I know that opens up a lot of things you don't normally see in like points levels below 2,500 points when you build it that way. There's some of the Forge World super heavy tanks that are 600 some points.
Yeah.
Somebody might be that guy and shows up with it, and you're like, oh, I didn't expect to see that.
With all that and the legacies and stuff you can put on them, you can make some at least very decent list.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. They're going to be hard, but they are playing at a disadvantage just because they're balanced at a higher point scale. So
absolutely.
I've been taking the what is it, the legacy of it starts with an S on my Dark Angel land speeder.
Did you
that gives them all furious charge?
You got to really convince me, why am I willing to spend points on these things?
Well, the legacy, okay, most of them are very themey and very fluffy. But anything, when you've got a list of 60 of them, it's not 60, you got a list of 20, 25, whatever. They just really go down the list and just assign special rules to them or whatever. And this one is everybody within 6 inches of this thing, and when they charge, gets furious charge.
It's a lot like Warlord traits for vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to flavor. You get a cool relic of a vehicle that inspires your troops or does X.
And there's one it's like a throwaway one. It's like all Khorne demons get +1 to their invulnerable save.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's just stuff like that if you build around it, it works.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's probably where my list design comes in. I don't make a vehicle and then think about how I'm going to build a list around a vehicle. I'm way backwards on that. I pick a dude. I'm I need this dude to do work.
I'm with you, but if you want to use a big land raider, or something, it's something is going to be survivable, or a land speeder with a 2+ rerollable jink.
As good as that dude is, though, he needs a ride that is befitting his status, and that's how you differentiate his ride from everyone else's.
It's smoke launcher.
Yeah,
the smoke launcher is a legacy of glory.
Yeah. That's a
good point, man. It's a very interesting. So again, Justin, a lot of the legacies are just kind of fruity, fluffy throwaway things that you probably would never take unless
that might be what happened.
Trying to replay that battle.
Yeah, I'll glance over them and I'm I just don't. No. I mean, I've seen a few that I was whoa, and then I saw the price tag and I was whoa. That's a squad of scouts, dude.
There's some interceptor ones, or I know there's some legacies of the drop site stuff, and
there is. I'm gonna try to bring them up right now.
The list is very extensive, and I don't have it memorized because I know that a lot of places don't include it in their basic rules. But I think there's some I've seen some tournaments actually ban.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
and I don't know why. I mean, I guess to get rid of these couple that we're talking about, but I mean because. But I think you have to build around them. I mean, I will say that the one I'm referring to, and I'll get the name here in a second. I really apologize. I'm not trying to be vague, but it's 25, 30 points or something like that. So it's not doubles the points of the speeder, or whatever. But it is, again, you're putting it on a pretty unkillable speeder.
Price of the missile launchers upgrade.
That's pretty cool though. No, but what I was saying a little bit ago while you looked that up, man, was. I'm coming to this event. I really want to I want to be in the thick of it, right? I want to be down there at the tables with everybody, shaking hands, talking to people. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing a really tough list, but my tough list is going to be a little bit themey in a way.
You don't be worried about what your librarian dreadnought's doing.
Yeah, I want to play the dudes that are there to have fun, and that they're there just to be the community side. And I'm going to lose some games, and that's going to put me right where I want to be.
Able to press some flesh and hang out with folks.
Yeah, man. That's what it's about, man. Because for us, we're not traveling that far. Well, I'm kind of traveling far, but a lot of the people that are coming, they're in the general area, but there's some dudes that are going to be traveling from a lot farther, man. And I want to make sure that dude seriously has the red carpet rolled out. I'll give him piggyback rides from table to table.
Justin's asking Black Knights or the plus Feel No Pain for the same price, which is better. I like the re-rolling jinx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that
first turn.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things to where just you're going to lose less guys, so you're rolling less Feel No Pains.
Yeah. From a competitive standpoint, that's just going to win more, I think.
But I like the Feel No Pain better, I think, than taking than taking the extra couple of models. So I'm thinking you're only giving up like 2 or 3 models because it's a 5-man squad versus an 8-man or whatever it is. So just take the command squad, and that's probably where I would focus on.
I think Black Knight. I'm a Black Knights all day kind of guy right now. I think that even though plasma is bad, according to most people,
dude, you're rolling up dice
when you get up in their face with it, and you're now dictating to them where you're pressuring. I think it's much more valuable because that AP2 is
you kill flyers with it. You don't care. I mean, you're just firing all this twin linked string 7 shots.
You're making them make decisions because usually in I think the list that some people were talking about, there's the support squadron of speeders, and you're either looking at some multi-meltas on there or some missile launchers, and so now you're giving them a choice. You can take if it's Knights, for instance, you got to dictate the shield. You can take it against my plasmas, or you can take it against the crack or the multi-meltas. So it's kind of a damned if you do kind of thing. Plus, when you're that in their face and you're that close, I think you're catering to some other things. And I was talking to you about it. I was like, how do you feel about some Deathwing stuff? Because everyone's kind of poo-pooing it right now, but I think that when you're that close with that much support, and then you're dictating. I know Belial's not guaranteed turn 1 anymore, but you can do a lot of stuff when you're there, and you've got the survivability from that reroll.
Well, I mean, think about it. You're going to bring in all those Terminators, if that's what you want to do, on turn 2, and you're going to be at 2 inches away from them. And then you can bring them in. I mean, they're going to get all the bonuses, and they're still Terminators.
Right.
And then if they choose to try to deal with the Terminators, they're not putting the required firepower on the bikes.
And you've now dictated several different angles that they have to then approach you from. You've bottled them. They've got Terminators on one side, speeders on the other, and plasmas on another angle. So you're hammering them, and all 3 of those units don't want to be in hand-to-hand, so there's a little bit of magic there to stay out and kind of thin them before you actually charge in, but with Corvus hammers.
And I think if you're playing just complete Dark Angels, you're better off if you're going to fight Necron Decurions, which at a tournament, especially at a 5-round tournament, you're probably going to play them.
Oh.
You're better off with the Terminators with some hammers.
Yeah,
that's why I'm
including not in place of, but Librarian Dread's where it's at.
Yeah, that's what keeps me from playing the Decurion. See, I'm smart.
I thought you were going to say you're going to take Librarian Dread to better fight the Decurion.
No. Well, yes, yeah. Well, they can't hurt it. Yeah, that's true. Well, Gauss, never mind. Jesus. No.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
Well, the good thing
Stop
with
making
that
me
is,
think.
I mean, with the Decurion, you're still in there trying to pick out Cryptex, I think, a lot of the time. So I mean, you still can dictate where your guys are dropping around them, or you've got the speed to get around the corner to shoot to remove the nearest models that are, not really nearest, but to remove models in the right angles to try to charge in there.
Yep, I agree. Chandler's asking, what do we think the next Space Marine chapter is coming out for the 30K Legion stuff is? Look, I want them to put off Blood Angels as long as possible. I think we're going to see them before we see Space Wolves and Thousand Suns.
You think Blood Angels, Dark Angels are coming then?
Well, we got the teasers, but that doesn't necessarily mean. I think that's just I think that is to keep us interested and can keep us buying miniatures.
I don't think you can look any longer. There's no tells on the Forge Rule website. Just because they released a model doesn't mean anything about a book now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to say right now because the last book was pretty. I mean, besides Lorgar, are redoing the
we got the Galvor back and the old. That's where the old
they
spring
toned
shield
down
is
Lorgar, so he doesn't automatically get
invisibility. Yeah, well, he doesn't get it at all.
Oh yeah,
it's like everything. It's like you can get everything but invisibility.
Fixed it.
Yeah, but it's really strong when you're the only guy in the whole universe that has it.
I think you're going to see what I want to say. There's going to be an awkward pause maybe where they do the next book as an answer to this one, where there's maybe some Dark Mechanicum stuff that gets maybe something with that.
Well, they did just put out their red book.
Yeah,
which I want, by the way. I want that red book, so I've not gotten it yet, but I'm going to get it. I am going to get it. And I like that new kit or the new group that they released. The priest, the tech priest, and
with his thralls. Doing wheelies on wrenches.
I think they look good.
Yeah,
but
they were interesting.
They fit the theme of the army. I mean, regardless of what you think about them, maybe independently, but I bet when you laid it out with everything, it would look fantastic.
You saw my Trios conveyors over there. They look good, right?
It's so big.
It is. You got and here's the kind of weird thing. And there's some deployment zones in the Horus Heresy books that thing can't even fit in.
Nice.
Like you can't even fit them all in. If you take several of them, then you just give it up. You got to reserve stuff. But anyway, it's fine. But if I had to pick, I had to guess, I think we'll see Dark Angels and Blood Angels before we see the other chapters, because the other chapters are going to be more psychic heavy, and I think that they're having a hard time balancing that.
Bringing it in.
And that was Chris can't talk right now, but that's one of his points that he made, and I agree with it. A point that Kelly Wallace made, who's on the show, he's helping me run Warzone Atlanta, is that the new box set coming out for the Horus Heresy with those plastics is not going to be 40K. It's not going to have the same rules. It's going to be like a board game. And that ties directly into my predictions I made, where they're going to be a lot more cavalier about putting 40K miniatures into board games now.
I mean, I like it, but I mean, I don't know. It's a bold statement, but then it's also bold to bet against you. So. Well,
who cares if they do? I mean, because we're still going to buy it for the models.
There's zero reason to, even if unless you just don't need Marines, which
shut up.
who doesn't just buy cooler power armor? I mean, there's no reason to not. I mean, at least split it with someone. You know, I mean.
Yeah, I see a lot of that, and why wouldn't you? Especially if there's some duality in there.
I have literally played more games of Assassin, the Execution Force, than anybody on the planet. So. Yeah.
I have a weird crossover theory though, and it kind of has to do with the fists on the models. The new Marines all have the fists sculpted onto the guns. All the Heresy stuff, all the resin is not, if I recall correctly. So I think they're trying to limit the ease of conversion there. So you may see some of it not cross over that way to the average like 40K. If I have all 40K stuff and I'm trying to go into Horus Heresy, there's not complete overlap because you can't do as easy of a swap.
Okay.
So I think there might be some stuff with that.
Look, I'm buying all those models.
Yeah.
I don't care how much stupid cardboard to play a board game that I'm never going to play comes with.
Yeah. Hey, like I was digging around, man. All those different pattern bolt guns and stuff. I'm not finding different rules. Is that just an aesthetic flavor?
It is completely aesthetic.
Okay.
There are some chapters that get like better bolt ammunition.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
What it looks like doesn't really matter.
Yeah, okay. Because like I was looking at some of those bolt guns and I was like, yo, those are like awesome.
It's important to point out that combi bolters are not melta guns or plasma guns.
Yeah, right?
They are just
bolters.
Yeah.
Which is depressing. I built out a very good list, in my opinion, and come to find out, I've got all these extra points on like twin Lincoln bolters I don't even
I saw that first, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, Lamont's got a good question. Like, what do you recommend combining with the Dream Crusher to have fun list, not necessarily a tournament list?
Dreadnoughts and drop pods.
Like to stay all BA.
Never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could still do Dreadnoughts and drop pods.
Is the working assumption that anything that we're putting through the Dream Crusher that teleports in is assaulting?
A character model can.
Okay.
That's it. It has to be a Blood Angel.
Because there's different.
Yeah, it has to be a Blood Angel.
Assuming that's the filter, what cool stuff would I throw in there?
You could get a non-Blood Angel character joining in a unit, but you have any fun? I'm saying Lysander.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, Lysander. He needs to be a Blood Angel, honestly.
But stay in all BA. You want to stay all BA.
Oh, so no weird conclave tricks or something like that. Okay.
But you can do. I mean, you could do. Dante is very strong to put in there. You could get. Well, Mephiston, yeah. So you sub out to get a priest and Dante in a allied detachment or a combined arms detachment with some scouts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you're looking like it is fun. It's beat face, but it's fun.
I think
you got a CAD to get the Lord of War though for Dante.
You could take the Flesh Terror Strike Force.
The only guy who gets overlooked more than Seth is Captain Carlan.
That guy.
That dude's beast, man. Good point.
I would grab him for the Thunderhammer. Not only that, but I like the additional chance to seize with him.
Yep.
Pretty beast. So then you're beasting your seize chances. You're boosting your seize chance with him, and then you're going through the Dream Crusher.
Yeah, no, that's really strong. That guy, I mean, because he fits in a Storm Raven too.
Yeah.
I mean, with 10-man tack squad, and that guy could fit in a Storm Raven.
Very underutilized.
You want to get saucy, like I'm a big fan of the Demios, the reserve manipulation Rhino. So you put that on the board for the +1 to the reserve roll.
You could also use the Blood Angels out of the Shield of Ball.
Yes.
Like those are kind of fun. They're overly pointed, but you still get to take a troop dreadnought and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, that was one thing I was talking about a buddy of mine, man. I was saying I want to make a list with the Stormclaw like built how it's supposed to be, and then that one from Shield of Ball, build it how it's supposed to be. It's 1325 for both of them, so I got to fill those points too. But that's another concept that I'm tossing around in my head to take to the seasonal.
Yeah,
Just fun,
so I
dude.
guess
I want to have fun.
my answer, my official answer would be, look at the Flesh Terror Strike Force, because it will allow you to get Dante easier, or Seth if you want. But I mean, I don't know why you want.
Whoa.
Maybe the mission is to bring Dante his coffee, and Seth needs to roll in with 3 Storm Ravens. That's just how they do it. That's what happens in the military.
It is. I'll go on record formally and say I'm probably the only one here who's pro Seth in this conversation.
Look, he's a cool-looking model, but how sad is that dude with the Eviscerator now being on Assault Marines?
I know.
Right?
Like, can you imagine? He's just standing in the corner like a chibi face. He's like got the frowny and all the teardrops. Just he's real.
I love it.
Eternal Warrior.
Real
he just had Eternal Warrior.
Or if it's AP2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AP2 swinging initiative.
That would have been it.
Maybe he swings at initiative, but he's got his wheel attack at initiative 1, if he wanted to, and make him Eternal Warrior.
You just look at him and you see like, what if?
Yeah.
Because
I love the model.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he's into that. He's into that doing nothing. He's the most determined looking doing nothing dude I've ever seen.
Yeah. I hope they do not to go on a devolve around Flesh Terrors, but I hope they do Amit when they do the Blood Angel book.
Yeah.
I hope he's in there as a captain.
He has to be. Yeah,
I mean, Sanguinus pinned him against the wall and was like, say what?
Yeah, well, there's like 4 books where he's in there as a character. Like, but I mean, you never know. I don't know how they make their decisions. We're actually going to be interviewing James Swallow again pretty soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I will ask him how they make the determination of which characters go in there.
I hope he just says that if we ask him nicely, he'll put one in there for us.
Well, I mean, in the rule book.
Because I think if they make the stories of him amazing, then they'll have to make the rules amazing as well.
Well, I think if you look at what's his name? God, how am I drawing a blank on the Imperial Fist, Black Templar, Emperor's Champion?
Oh, S. The guy with the
I can't
sword
remember.
standing on
Sigismund.
Yeah.
They put him in there, and he's akin to what Amit is.
Yeah.
Corferon is in the and in the books, and
they're definitely setting conditions to talk later or to build out the how they've got the Crimson Fist, and everyone's got their names. They're that's the one thing going forward. I hope you see more of in the rest of the chapters. Actually, is you'll see how they because sometime far from now the well's going to run dry on heresy stories, and then they start doing the scouring and the foundings.
They'll have to wrap it up.
Those books will be a separate
Yeah. Well, they did. I mean, the Talon of Horus takes place like an hour after the battle.
That's Bowden's.
No, it's where it is. Yeah, he wrote that.
That's where like the Claws kills another Horus, and there's like this. Yeah, I've heard.
Well, there's like 3 paragraphs in the original big chaos books or whatever, where they talk about how Abaddon went around and had to kill all the Horus clones and like all this stuff. And I don't think we're going to see that. Maybe we did. I haven't read it yet. Somebody can spoil it for me. Okay. Yeah. But yeah.
Sorry.
Like they're setting the stage where they're going to be doing it. And I know we're never going to see 50K. No. We're going to see 31K. Forever.
That can extend theoretically, definitely, when you start talking foundings.
It's 10,000 years. Yeah, like we know that what's his name, Alexis Pollux dies 300 years after the heresy.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I mean,
this is why I don't read. I want to point that out. Like this show specifically is why I don't read.
Well, he's a founder of the Crimson Fist.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
He's killed by an alien, though, right?
Yeah, he gets a poison dart to the temple. Yeah. But how? Okay, I was thinking about this. Like, I'm sad. If Saving Private Ryan taught us anything, is you wear your helmet and you never take it off. All right.
Yeah, that's valid.
And actually, Alan, y'all all know Alan Dobbs or whatever. He won't put a Marine in his army that doesn't have a helmet on. Like he won't do it. I mean, he's like, wear your helmet. Yeah. He won't, and I paint all his figures, and he won't let me paint a single one without a helmet on. But anyway, I guess.
It's a good strategy.
But this is kind of a topic. It's like I get bummed knowing that some of my favorite characters are dead. Like Malkador is dead.
Turns to ash.
Yeah, and we all know this is all stuff that's like in codexes and that kind of crap. So it's all.
I don't read those stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's so anticlimactic though with that one.
But is it though? I mean, but
I mean, he gets on the throne and holds the fort down. So
Yeah, he's
demons
the
can't
only
invade.
immortal in the galaxy that can sit on the throne.
I just hope they paint it as he's like, I got this, and he just sits down and hunkers down and just rides the lightning until the Emperor kills Horus, and then he comes,
Yeah, but I don't want him to be dead.
No.
Like, I don't want Alexis Pollux to be dead. I don't want Sanguinus to be dead. We don't know that. We all know that. But how do we come to grips with how these characters pass on? I don't want all the Primarchs to be dead.
Yeah.
As a guy with an Iron Hands army, and then knowing going into the first thing when you start hearing they're going to do the Horus Heresy, you're like, oh man,
yeah, this is going to be tragic.
I hope they do it well. I hope it's a giant crescendo.
Did you read that short story where it's like the dead Terminator looking at the scene as he's dying as sorry, something's attacking me. He's dying as what's his name,
fighting.
Ferris is fighting, dying and stuff.
I actually haven't read that one.
It's in the it's one of the first short stories.
Yeah.
I just wish that the fight would have been a lot. I know there's a lot of bolter porn out there, and everyone reads,
Is that what it's called? Because I read the crap.
Yeah, I read a lot of it. But I just thought that it should have been, when Fulgrim walks in and kills a bunch of Morlocks and walks off the ship, and it's like, oh, I thought there would be some sort of vengeance at least, And
so disappointed at Fulgrim. I don't want to. I've talked about it. I don't want to beat it to death. But
I just wanted to see him hold his skull with like spine attached and just hold it up like Predator. That's what I wanted.
They do that. I think he brings his head up.
Yeah, he gives it to Horus as a trophy.
Yeah.
And then he also does, and the hammer, I believe, right? And then he gives the hammer to Perturbo, or Horus, he gives it to Perturbo. Anyway, a lot of spoils from that fight, but
yeah, when you kill a Primarch, you get fat loot.
Yeah,
that's
a good race.
Yeah, got this arm. You basically say, I got the armor, I got the weapon, I got the magic rings, I got the cloak, I got the
I would have liked to see Iron Hands get something, as awesome in the other direction. They're so adamant about things from that point on that the remaining whatever clans out there, but alas.
Anyway,
maybe they'll revive the Primarchs one day.
You had to do that. That's what sets the tragedy. Yeah. It's like, so, whatever. Lou's saying that he thinks Prospero is supposed to be before Cygnus Prime, and that is what we heard also. But the rumor, and this is nothing more than just us rumoring, is that they're having trouble balancing how the psychics work because nobody else has psychic powers. Yeah. And so if you were to take 1,000 Suns, for instance, and play them, and you've got 28 psychic guys, then no one else could ever compete against you because the best one's got 2 dice and adamantium will on one guy.
I think they're going to have to come up with a Horus-specific list of powers, a Horus Heresy. I know they don't want to probably, but I think that's the only way to really balance it because, that's exactly what you're talking about. It's going to be the problem. You're just going to have the haves and the have-nots, and the haves will have everything the have-nots have and psychic dice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's frustrating
we had a question.
To have to play.
Sorry, Justin. I mean, jump in there. We had a question about the new airbrush paints. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I would like to try them, but I can't get them out of the pot into my airbrush.
Yeah, that's exactly. Okay, I'm going are you kidding? Have you guys never seen a freaking airbrush paint? I mean,
have you seen any airbrush paint ever?
I get it. You bought a trillion billion of those little pots. All right, I get it.
They're free for you.
They suck. They suck. I don't like using them. I've almost sworn off your paint brand because I hate those stupid pots. If one more pot closes on me while I'm trying to get some stupid paint out, there's going to be a trail of paint from that into my hobby area all the way over here as I throw that son of a bitch.
Feel the hate. Yes.
Listen, right? I know you listen, and I know you hear what I say sometimes. All right, you release one freaking airbrush paint in those pots,
too late, buddy. Too late.
Anybody buys them. I mean, come on. I get it. They are. It's like supply chain. Supply chain. Those things are free. You got a handful of them. What can we use? Let's use those things. All right.
It's cute. They put more Lamia medium in it, and now it's an airbrush paint.
I don't mind. Look, they're making it. Okay, let's talk just for 1 second.
Pigment density is too thick, man. It's not going to work.
They've made it to where you don't have to necessarily mix up paints anymore. So when Duncan Rhodes, who's a gift to our hobby,
love that dude. Love that dude.
When he comes on and tells you how to paint, that picture that looks like it's on the freaking box. When he tells you how to paint it,
Yeah.
you just get to go, I want to use that paint, and that paint. I don't have to worry about, is it 3 parts this and 2 parts this and 1 dab of water or whatever.
Just gotta
like,
roll your brush.
yeah, and buy a new palette every time you change it. But they quit doing that. They had to cut them off. They're like, Duncan Rhodes, your palette budget has gone through the roof. But anyway, so I like that. So when they go to the airbrush paints, if it's similar, then that's good. But like, it's so difficult to pour that crap out of you gotta.
Yeah. You're getting half the bottle.
You waste so much paint. Even if you use the brush, even if you get a brush and dip it out, you're wasting so much paint.
Time.
You got to go buy a pipette and then basically use a new one every time. Now they're cheap; they're only 10 cents, for a piece or something or whatever.
You just made me rebase my Marines on a 32mm basis. You could have threw me a bone, and I don't want to have to repot my paints. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, that's what you have to do.
They made that little nub on there to where sometimes it holds it open, and then I've had to rebuy Mephiston Red probably 8 times. And let me tell you why. Because I'm a slut. All right, I close it, and then when it dries, I almost said the F word, but I'll say physics take over, and it pops back open because that's what happens.
Yes. Right? Go back to Austin and come back revigorated. I love this.
It's like, come on, people. Like, have you seen, let me tell you a successful airbrush line. You want to do something successful. If you're entering a market where someone else is successful, you can't come in automatically second place. No. If you want to compete. All right, but I didn't get hired as CEO. I'm sorry. I just have to spew my vitriol through the secret CEO channels.
So loving it. Oh my God, this is a good day. It's more fun than when you're drunk.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rant on, but I'm optimistic about the airbrush line. But like, what are you thinking? I'm never going to buy one. I'm never going to know.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess prediction is they're going to tell you that you can paint from the pots. You're going to see Duncan painting out of the airbrush paints now. You're going to see that, and you'll probably see him do something. You'll see him with some sort of brush or the other side doing a capillary action where it runs down the brush into his airbrush that he's got on a mount or something. If he gets in there, but let's face it, he's eventually going to have to use them through an airbrush to show people here's how you make all of them red real quick. Hey, one of the hallmarks of a good airbrush paint, to me, because again, I'm a clunky painter, is that it has to brush well. Yeah.
Or I just can't.
You need dual purpose.
The viscosity's got to be somewhere along the lines where you can just go with it onto the model. Like I know,
it has to be that way for me because I can't paint it. I will make mistakes.
I'll be honest. A lot of my just paints now are just the airbrush paints because I'm lazy and I don't want to sit there and water and add medium and do this and get the consistency and test it. And
GMM, good buddy. He told me he's like if you're painting if you're airbrushing on black, and then you want to go in and clean up that black, you have to make sure that you're using the same paint. Or else because all blacks are not the same.
Yeah, the sheen.
Like all black paint is not the same at all.
Not. That's a fact.
Here's number one.
Anyone who knows that you've taken black primer and if you haven't gone over it with Chaos Black, it's real obvious.
Or a black ink or something.
To add something, a level of satin over that flatness.
Yeah. There's a lot of tricks, man, and there's so much that they could have done for this. Forge World just literally released airbrush paints too, so come on, man.
But they also use the other armory style.
The P3,
right? Yeah.
Chris has mentioned here as he's going to be on the show is when Sanguinus comes out, we'll be rewriting the Horus Heresy for him to kill Horus. Now, when we say that, but we're actually collaborating on a group of missions and battle reenactment from the stories, and we published one on Bowls this last week. We're going to try to get one out this week, where you can play the battles.
I haven't seen it.
It's now it's all out of our minds or whatever,
Fan fiction.
Yeah,
but it's 30K. It's not 40K.
yes, 30K, but you can
awesome.
play this mission as we see it, of using the actual forces from the book, and we'll make it balanced to where you can maybe change the course of your history in one of these books.
So let me ask this question for those people out there who maybe haven't read it. So I think half of the value of buying the Forge World books is playing the missions in there. They're actually really there's a lot of depth of content when it comes to playing the missions. How do your missions align up compared to maybe some of those ones in the books? Would you say? I mean,
we're taking a page right out of their book. It was like, okay, I see where you're going. Let me do something like that.
Okay.
That was basically exactly. I mean, I love what they did. We played the last game of 30K I played over here was just that. We played submission to where like it was one of those weird things where the board was broken up into 3 different bands and you could score different things in different bands of the board or whatever. Yeah, and I just happened to have Horace way downfield, scored a point, and drew the game.
Seems good.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna run him across over here, and So anyway, whatever. I love them, and they're all very themey. They're all very, and they have progressive objectives in there, by the way.
Yeah.
Not saying where they got that idea from.
I don't know. They may know a guy.
They do. Yeah. So anyway, very very excited about what's going to be coming up with the 30K stuff, and I mean again, please continue to release board games. One of them might be fun.
Yeah.
I love board games. Like Space Hulk is actually fun.
I like all one players.
The Horus Heresy board game just takes too long to play, in my opinion.
Really?
Like you have it has a lot of pieces, and you have to find somebody that's committed to sitting down and playing or leaving the board up.
Dude, I've wanted to play. Shame on me. Everyone I know has all the assassins they needed in metal, so not a lot of people bought the Assassin's Rifles. I've been actually wanting to pick up a copy. I've been eyeballing them on eBay.
It's got a 1-player mode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like and here I am going for school for my work for the next few months. And like I could set that up and play a couple turns, do my hour hobby, and
that's what Justin does.
Do something.
Same thing.
It seems
all the time. I love it. It's literally like the breath of fresh air that I've been wanting in my gaming and in my hobby. It's awesome. Yeah, I cannot. I'll be going on if I keep trying. So I'm gonna stop it.
I wish there were ported versions over for that though, where you didn't have to use the chaos, where there was maybe subsets for like Tyranids that we can make it more space hulky or use other things you have. Because my thing is, I just pretty much divested myself of all my chaos. I had so many high-end conversion things that were just never going to finish themselves.
But even as a board game, though, it's not a bad price point.
No, it's not.
I mean, for that level of involvement.
When you're looking at what the starters cost for, Fantasy Flight stuff, I guess nowadays too, you're not far off.
Yeah, if you're going to go buy, it was an Android or whatever, or Netrunner / Android, it's $60, $80.
These models are, and let's be honest, once they release the Assassins or in blister form, they're going to be 25 to 30. So you're getting it. Yeah. You're getting it essentially free.
JP's top 5: Shuriken, Sigismund, Sevator, Grammaticus, and Sergeant Thiel. That's a good team.
It works.
I'd written
8 minutes left and it works.
Got 8 minutes.
I want to know what they're going to do with him. What is the long game? If he's just a filter for us to see the heresy through for humans.
That's what I thought.
Or if he's going to come in with some sort of like, now Malkador took a knee, is he going to come in the long run after having all this weird worldly galactic experience and do something cool with the Inquisition?
I don't know, man.
End up a High Lord,
Oh, I could see that.
So we talking Garrow right now?
I know we're talking about Grammaticus. I think
Grammaticus.
What's the long game for him?
Abnett loves to write the humans to give us that, like you're talking about, that filter. And so if you look at Prospero Burns, or was it Wolves of Fenris?
No, it was Thousand Suns. You're talking.
That's right, Thousand Suns. Like the whole first half of the book is just dudes.
Been watching you guys flounder around like fish without me to tell you where things are from.
Yeah, some story somewhere. Somebody, I can't remember his name.
Everybody was screaming, Ascalon, Sigismund, somebody tell him.
And Barrett's coming in talking about, it's like, well, Sanguinus does give me the Emperor. Like, instantly, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're the Emperor now.
Yeah, well,
there's no question.
That's what really happened. But the story was over, and then they were like, all right, guys, let's throw that page away, and let's start over.
Space is bringing up the Star Child. There's, if we ever see like 50K, that's what we're going to see. We're going to have where all the galaxies or whatever, or the different empires get their own emperor.
Yeah.
And then we all compete to see who has the best emperor.
Okay, so to take the counterpoint on that, I don't think you'd see that because you just saw Karl Franz become, become what is
The 19th prime
Sigma.
mark.
Yeah. So I think they would have to go the other way with it. I mean, maybe I don't know. I hope they don't do something like that.
We got 5 minutes left. Let's talk about Age of
Too easy.
Sigmar for a second. Like, you've been playing Age of Sigmar
I have.
and having a good time with it.
I have. So Age of Sigmar came out, and I played one game of it pretty much like that first week, and it was I had instantaneously played one more game of Age of Sigmar than I played of Fantasy in like the 3 years prior, because
Okay.
I couldn't find a crowd for it, etc. And I'm pretty happy. I mean, I was jaded like everyone else, but I had to search my soul and say, what is the good thing? Let me play it first. And I was surprised. I had a lot of good experiences with it so far.
But you mentioned that you could basically roll in after work and get a game in,
Yeah.
move some miniatures around the table.
Yeah, there's 3 real points about it I actually like. One, the setup time for the games is dramatically decreased. It's pretty much you roll to a table, you rock up with somebody. I think that it helps to go into your game with an attitude of, I think I can beat this guy with the least amount of models. Like, that's kind of how I frame it. I don't like to talk about wounds, and then then it takes too much time. So I think I can beat you with this much. Come at me. And then they bring their war scrolls and set it up. The second part I like about it, I was talking to you, I think earlier, was all of the models are not dependent on rolling something during setup to be good anymore. You don't need a level 4 caster to become good. All the war scrolls have everything integral on them. They enable everything that you need to play from there. And then third, the barrier to entry for new blood is a box of guys. It's whatever you got from
If you think like the River Trolls look cool, you could just get a box of River Trolls.
and you can then play. You're there. You don't need 4 boxes. Your great swords. You can roll with a unit of 10. You can now obviously on some of the war scrolls there's buffs and they play better, and there's some people say there's balance issues with shooting and whatnot.
But to get a game in with your buddy who you're going to play with,
If
you'd be
you're
like, let's get. You
Yeah.
can even look at the war scrolls because they're free.
Yeah.
Like, let's get something that's kind of comparable. Let's just do that.
I'm bringing this. You bring something that you think is competitive, and if you said that's what I said. That's why I go into it with I think I can beat you with the fewest models. Or say I'm going to take something around this. Yeah.
You take
Two dashes, yes. and then my horse cart full of summoning that I bring with it. But no, it's actually been like for like I was saying, if you want to just get a quick game after work, you want to roll in, and it's very casual. It's very fast setup, so it doesn't the social contract is easier to establish in a faster pace than some other games that are out there right now.
I like that.
I love it.
I love those new models too they've been putting out.
Oh, the like angel things, they remind me like it's like the Sanguinary Guard.
I don't like the chubby
angels from
sanguinists.
Diablo.
Yeah, he's a little.
I don't like the chubby sanguinists.
thick.
Yeah.
No, but like it's like they did a fusion, and then you've got these Sigmarite guys with the wings, right? You got the Diablo angels, and then you've got the Sanguinary Guard, and then you've got this awesome mashup.
I don't like the like it turned over upside down shoulder pad.
Yeah, some of the like you can't move your shoulder now because it's locked in place. There's like a big metal clamp over it now. Like,
Well, we know that all Space Marines have full range of motion with their shoulders.
And they're very stealthy. But see, these guys have upside down shoulder pads.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a few aesthetic things about them that I think were a little bit of a miss. I think overall they are good though.
Yeah, I think they look great. The only one I
Stylistically,
really don't like is the new chubby one they just put out.
You talking about the dude with the swirly crap?
Yeah, and you can't even tell I couldn't even tell you had the swirly crap in the pictures, but I like the swirly crap. I just don't like his kind of. He is kind of. I don't know. It kind of looks like Baron Harkonnen from the original Dune movies.
I was uninspired. I'll say I was a little uninspired.
I think there's a certain ectomorphic body style of gamer out there who maybe wants that.
I'm probably that could just be the angle that they're taking the picture.
No,
from.
he's
Oh my gosh. Baron Harkonnen, you're kidding me.
That's what he looks like to me. That's what I can't, because when he's floating around there in the 80s. Anyway.
Oh, I know. And then like they had the little vacuum things that were sucking up all the. That was so gross.
So while we got a couple minutes left, I want to put out that I heard on Twitter that the Emperor of Mankind is an Iron Maiden fan.
Yeah, that's.
That came from Aaron Dibsky-Bowden's Twitter feed.
I definitely saw that, and I chuckled hard, and then I listened to some Iron Maiden.
But then I was like, can I play with Madness? Because that's my favorite Iron Maiden song.
So is Rotten Eddie one of the Primarchs that we don't know about?
That might be.
That's gotta be.
Yeah, that could be Curse. But I kind of felt like he was alive during that time period.
Kurz is a fan of Screamo.
You think that's the only cassette tape that made it? to the 31st millennium.
It had to
It's
have been.
probably in that Hall of Relics you remember from Deliverance Lost, that big old hall where it's like.
That's what's in the that's what's playing in the lab under the Andes or whatever.
Yeah.
That one album on repeat.
Mhm.
Love it.
But I imagine there are other things that make it into those books, and I think it's kind of cool how they wrap in current culture into those.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, anyway.
That was pretty interesting to see, like, and the quip too, like
religion.
if everybody missed it, was he was writing and then he literally had to stop mid sentence and was like, these are lyrics in an Iron Maiden song, I must stop. Like the Emperor cannot be that awesome.
I say just let it ride next time.
How could you write for a British company and think that would sneak through editing? Like, I don't know if that's a thing. Like, you might be able to pull that off over here.
It
over
should
there,
be a
I think
thing.
you're.
Let's be real, a lot of things sneak through editing.
All right, guys, we're at the end of the hour. It's been a fun one. I apologize for going off about the paint pots, but that's really kind of like, you don't know how much of my hobby time is eaten up by having to reopen the paint pot.
There is the episode of the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Paint
It only
pot
could have been
explosion.
worse if they did the bolt gun shell, like screw top ones. That would have been the only way to do that worse.
Thankfully, those how many paint you ever throw away that just got glued
I
shut?
gave those to a friend who was starting the hobby to be, because I just had to be rid of them.
Right? So now you got him out of it.
Well, guys, thank y'all very much for joining me tonight. Chris, I'm glad you kept trying to get in. I'm sorry, technology does that sometimes, man. Justin,
I don't know what happened.
the back and forth. Josh, thank you very much for coming in tonight. I appreciate you coming through town. We will see y'all next week. Register for Warzone Atlanta if you have not already. Send us questions if you're curious about that. Subscribe to this channel. Do stuff. Listen to the podcast.
Follow on the Twitter.
Good night, everybody.
I think it's that button.